Roman, we're here today going live again because we had a really interesting conversation this morning, didn't we?
I think we're going live because it's big news, Mike.
Well, there's that too.
But and that news is that Audi just announced that it is changing the way that it names its cars. Again, exactly.
Yeah.
Because as you recall, once upon a time, Audis used big numbers to name their cars. So the Audi 5000, for instance, which actually probably caused the fact that they had to change their name change because the sudden acceleration. This is a long old story, but it's an interesting conversation and it's an interesting topic because we're really confused with how car manufacturers are now naming their cars. So we wanted to kind of have this news out there as fast as possible. We also wanted to have a conversation about just how car makers are changing and why they're changing their naming structure.
Yeah, so before we get into the conversation, let's talk about the new naming convention, which you know a lot about, right? So
I do.
They're going to add more numbers to the names, basically. That's the big news, right?
Yeah, so for you guys, obviously you know that like A3, A5, S3, S5, RS3, RS5. Very simple, right? The A was the basic sedan. The S was a sportier version, kind of aligned with a lot of other German manufacturers, and the RS was the sportiest. So the RS would be like the M version of the BMW.
Right.
And it made perfect sense in a perfect world. It was very understandable. So let me tell you what Audi is doing now.
Okay, go for it.
Because I've got the statement here because it's so confusing that really, I had to actually read the statement twice before I didn't understand it.
Yeah, it took us some read-throughs to actually get what they were doing.
All right, so now they're going to add two numbers.
Okay.
But they're going to add two numbers, so it's going to be like 55 or 30 or... Well, let me read it to you, okay? All right. The reference value for the new model designation is the power output of the individual model in kilowatts. So not in horsepower, but in kilowatts.
Great.
So Audi is thus subclassifying its model range into different performance levels.
Okay.
Each identified by a numeric combination. For example, the numeric combination 30 will appear on the rear of models with power output between 81 and 96 kilowatts. Yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah,
okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. And
Fantastic.
It gets better, okay?
Yeah.
Let me keep going. Will appear, okay, and 45 stands for power output between 169 and 185 kilowatts.
So the number represents the power output, but it doesn't actually represent the power output.
No, I mean, it would be like, okay, if it's got 500 horsepower, it would have a 5, or 40 would have a 4.
But it's like, if it has 500 horsepower, it has a 2 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
The top of the line Audi model range is in the performance class above 400 kilowatts, which is identifiable by the number combination 70.
Okay.
So in each case, the numerals appearing along with the engineered technology will also include TFSI, TDI, G-tron, or E-tron. So that makes sense.
Sure. Okay.
Right. So if it's fuel injected, if it's a
turbocharged,
if it's
diesel,
electric, yeah.
Sure.
So 45, 30, 70. Right. That's the number combination. Okay. Now it gets better. The number combination identified performance levels in each Audi range increase in increments of 5, and they represent the hierarchy within both the respective model series and the brand's overall model range. According to the new nomenclature, in the future spectrum will range from Audi Q230 TSFI with 85 kilowatts to Audi Q750 TDI with 200 kilowatts. Dude, I have no clue what that means. I just read it a third time, and I still don't understand what that means.
What does this mean?
Now, the good news is they're not changing the way that, for instance, the sport models or the super sport models are.
Thank goodness.
So like the RS models and the S models. And
those are just RS3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a little better.
Yeah, that's a little better. But, and the other good news is potentially this may not affect America. There's various stories out there right now. So some are saying that it will affect America, and some are saying that it won't affect North America.
The funny part about this is that Audi has conflicting stories, right? The Audi Global Group said it will affect America, and then the Audi US guy came back and said, no.
Yeah, read the press release.
Yeah, so...
And Tommy, you're over there with our comments. Any comments that our readers and viewers have that we might want to answer?
Yeah, what will the R8 be changed to?
That won't be changed.
No, the R8 will stay the R8.
Yeah, so the performance models won't change.
Yeah.
All right, now behind us, you'll notice that we have the new BMW 230i.
xDrive.
xDrive. Yeah. And of course, BMW is also in a very kind of particular pickle because once upon a time with BMW, it was very simple, right? There was a 3 Series, a 5 Series, and a 7 Series.
Yep.
Not any longer.
Nope.
Now there are at least 25 different models of BMW.
2 Series, 3 Series, 4 Series, 5 Series, 6 Series, 6 Series Grand Coupe, 7 Series, probably another 7 Series Grand Coupe. The X's, the X1 3, 5,
and 7 coming,
It's impossible.
And the eyes.
And the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the i8, i3.
Yeah, so far. Yeah. And, you know, once upon a time it was simple with BMW because let's say a 230i would have been a 2 Series with a 3-liter engine.
And injected.
And injected. The i-been injected, and of course X would have been X-Drive, which is all-wheel drive. So a 230iX would have been a 2 Series, 3-liter engine, injected, and X. And the problem with BMW now is that the 30 means nothing.
No. It's purely, it tells you what engine it has, but the number doesn't actually represent the engine in any way.
In liters, yeah. So it's just, you know, you can have a 230, a 235, but it doesn't mean that it's a 2.35 anymore.
No.
I mean 3.55. Yeah, it's just a number combination, and that's become very confusing. Now Mercedes has gone one better. And we had this conversation. Yeah. So we figure the manufacturers had a big kind of cabal, a secret
in like
cabal.
Geneva, right?
In Geneva, they all came in clandestinely.
Some volcano lair or something like that.
And they decided, let's really screw with our customers and change the way that we name our cars.
Yeah, so they said, Mercedes...
It was Dr. Evil, right?
Dr. Evil
He looked at Mercedes and he said what?
And he said, Mercedes, listen, anything you have with an M, it's a G now.
Yep.
Just make them all Gs. Forget the M's.
Yep. And Infinity, we're really going to screw with you guys.
Yeah.
Anything that is...
what, a G? Or an I is now a G?
No, it's a Q.
Q, of course, yeah.
So anything in Infinity became a Q.
Great.
Audi, of course, you guys are going to take a kilowatt number that nobody understands, and you're going to designate a number that has nothing to do with that kilowatt hour.
And then that's your new thing.
Yep.
And
Cadillac, you're going to really screw with your customer.
Cadillac, you have these really awesome names. Enough of that.
Enough of that.
3-letter codes. Yeah. That's all you get.
And a number.
Oh, and one number.
Yeah,
that's right. A little number.
And sometimes 3 letters and a number, and then sometimes you're going to keep your name.
Yeah, like the Escalade.
Like the Escalade.
Yeah, we like that one. We don't want to mess with those people.
And then they were like, Lincoln, what are you doing here?
Yeah, who invited Lincoln? Why are you even here?
No, we're
kidding.
We're just kidding. But Lincoln, same problem, right? Lincoln.
I don't understand.
Once again, really great names.
The Continental stayed. Why? That's here still. We still have the Continental. MKS.
MKS.
MKT.
MKT. Yeah. Luckily, the Continental and the Navigator.
Those are still normal.
But the rest of it is. So this is just a plea for sanity out there. Guys, let's go back to like really cool car names. Like think about the most iconic cars, Michael.
The Eldorado, that's a great name, right?
No, I'm thinking Mustang.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's
I'm thinking Corvette. Camaro.
Challenger.
Exactly. Yeah. These are not numeral.
No.
Or
soulless
cars.
Yeah.
And of course the big question is, why are they doing this? And I think the biggest reason that they're doing this is because once upon a time, of course, engines were very straightforward.
Yeah.
But today you've got, not only do you have electric power, but you also have hybrid power, and you have combinations of all two in all kinds of different ways. And so it's very difficult to kind of identify a car based on just the lead.
And half the engines are just 2-liter 4-cylinders with a turbo anyways, right? Like, I mean, it's becoming so much more complex that you have to kind of struggle to find a better way to name all these new engines. Yeah,
but I think for the customer, it's very confusing. I think a lot of times people buy cars because of the panache, right, that they bring.
Sure.
And when you start messing with your names, you kind of devalue that panache, right? Because if 5 Series is no longer just a 5 Series, but some other weird thing, right, then it doesn't have the same value that name did for.
We had this car last week, the 530e X-Drive iPerformance. That's a name. That's the whole name of the car is like a paragraph. You know, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's becoming very difficult even for us car guys to keep them straight without actually a scorecard. Tom, any other questions out there?
Yeah, what prompted the name changes?
Well, that's what we're talking about. What prompted it was the fact that there's now so many different engine combinations, and it's just hard for the manufacturers to, be very specific and be very detailed with their naming. But I also think it's because one company's changing, so somebody else,
feels the need to change.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if you're a CEO and you come to a new company, you have to bring something to the table, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, the CEO of Audi went to Infinity and now is a Cadillac.
Yep.
Right? And if you're that guy, you can't just come to the job interview and say, hey guys, my plan for the brand is
to change nothing.
Just keep doing the same thing. I've got a great plan.
Yeah.
We're going to make all the cars Q. That's the plan because people have focus grouped the fact that Q is
more interesting than
M.
A or something.
Right? And I think that there's a lot of that. So you have to do something, and that's what they're doing. And I think car companies, especially luxury car companies, right? Let's be fair. It's really hard right now to build a luxurious sedan because nobody's buying luxurious sedans.
No,
let's take Cadillac as an example.
No one's buying like any sedans
right.
anymore. Yeah.
Cadillac, the two cars that sell are the SRX.
Yep.
And of course the Escalade.
The Escalade.
And one is a mid-size crossover. One is a
full-size SUV.
SUV truck base, right? Yeah. And the cars, are not selling, and so maybe one of the ways you get the cars to sell is by changing its name.
Sure. Maybe it's a fight for originality too, but the funny thing about that is that everyone's doing it, right? So it's really not that original to just go change your names anymore.
Someone said they like the Fords that begin with the E's and the F's.
Yeah, if you guys aren't aware of the way Ford does their naming, all their crossovers are E, right? And it goes up in size. So Escape, Explorer, Expedition, Edge,
EcoSport.
Yeah, EcoSport, yeah. So it's really clever, and I give Ford props for actually having something that is at least somewhat consistent within.
Yeah, and the sedans are Fusion, Focus, Fiesta, or the smaller.
And they stuck to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with Lincoln, Ford went off the deep end. And did the same thing where they have half of them are letter combinations, and the other half still have traditional names. And interestingly enough, this is kind of a clue. You can tell how well a car sells by how often it's changed its name. Right? So at Ford, the cars that are selling are the Navigator, right?
They're at Lincoln.
I mean, at Lincoln, are the Navigator.
And the Continental.
And the Continental's
new.
But But the ones that aren't doing so well are the three-letter, MKZ,
whatever.
The rebadged Fords.
Yeah.
What is your favorite car name ever?
Ooh.
Tornado.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Doesn't exist. No, Tornado. I'm kidding. The Tornado. I love the Tornado. I think the Tornado is a really cool car name. I also like Continental. I think that's really cool because it means a lot. Lincoln Continental, like the two words put together.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that it's hard. That's a hard question because you identify the car with the name.
Yeah.
So like Nova wasn't a great car. Vega wasn't a great car.
Yeah.
Chevette wasn't a great car. Right. These are just names. I also think when the Japanese cars came here and they had these kind of weird names that were kind of half based on words that meant something. So like Integra is based on integrity.
Yeah.
Right? Those were kind of interesting that they actually were not real words, but they were based on real words that meant something. And I think one of my favorites in the Japanese lexicon of car names is Legend. I thought that was a great name. And once again, Acura...
Supra is kind of fun.
Yeah, from Supra.
Yeah,
it was
you know
cool.
what I really like, and it's maybe a bit of a cliche. Lamborghini has some awesome names for cars, don't they? The Aventador or the Diablo or
so of course Lamborghini names all their cars after famous fighting bulls.
Right, which is a great story in itself.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear some of the viewers' favorites?
Yeah,
let's hear some.
And who? Yeah, why don't you? But you have to be a little bit loud so people
just
can hear.
Talking to them.
Yeah, Stefan said Eldorado.
Eldorado is wonderful.
One.
Yeah, they should bring that car back.
Yep.
Chuck said Chevelle.
Hate the Chevelle. Sorry, Chuck.
Blake said Falcon, Commodore.
Yeah, that's a really great name.
Ross says Mustang.
Yeah, Mustang's good.
Viper.
Viper, what a great name. Yeah, anytime you name a car after some kind of deadly animal, it's always good.
Yeah.
Firebird.
Stingray, right?
Stingray.
These
Firebird.
are these are always great names.
My favorite is actually a three-letter acronym
from
the 80s, and that's GLH.
Goes like hell.
Goes like
hell. Yeah.
Is
that really it?
Yeah.
GLHS was goes like hell some more. S-M-O-R-E.
I love s'mores.
Autobiography.
Don't we all? Yeah, and the cool thing, the cool thing is that the car companies that I think have really cool names. Let's think of car companies that have really cool names.
You know what name
Dodge.
I love? Dodge has great names.
Right, Demon.
Hellcat. Hellcat's an awesome name.
Demon is a
even Challenger.
Charger. Right, these are really powerful names that express what the vehicle does.
I love Discovery. The Land Rover Discovery. Perfect name for that vehicle.
And that the story behind that one is the reputation of the Disco. for in the know people became so bad here in America because of its reliability.
Oh, it was my dad used to joke that he had the cleanest Discovery in Seattle because every time he took it to the dealership, it got washed, and he had to take it to the dealership every other week.
So they had to change that from Disco to LR4, and then just recently they brought the Discovery name back. But in Europe, the Discovery has always been the Discovery. Here in America, it was the LR4 for a while. Yeah.
Defender's cool too.
Defender's cool. Yeah. I mean, Wrangler.
Yeah,
right?
Wrangler.
These are cool names, and I also like names that like somehow incorporate the internal designation of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously an E36 would be a silly name, but it would be cool. But Porsche does that probably the best, right?
Yeah, the 997.
Yeah, people understand. Yeah, people understand that Porsche has to do with the internal designation. So 991. Probably the most famous of all internal designation numbers that actually becomes the name of the car. And it's cool because if you're at a party and you're in the know, right, you just drop that. Like, you don't say you have a 911. You
don't say I have a 2018 911. No, you say I have a 991.2.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a little douchey, but
but like the GTI. Like I don't say I have a 2015 GTI. I say I have a Mark 7 GTI.
Yeah, but like I was with a bunch of guys from Car and Driver driving the Trackhawk, and we started talking about old Porsches, right? And immediately you're like, oh, I had a 996.
Yeah.
And they know what you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you know the 911 was supposed to be called the 901?
Did not know that.
But Porsche got in a lawsuit with, I believe it was
Peugeot,
because they had a trademark on a number, a zero, and another number.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and I forgot it.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you get old.
Yeah.
Now I know it again. The other cool thing I think that is are car companies that name their cars based on the model designation, and the classic of that, of course, is the Model T.
Yeah.
Right. So that was probably one of the most successful cars that changed the way America drove, and let's face it, the other company that's doing that now is who? Who's doing that?
Tesla.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. The Model S.
Model S. 3.
Right. Yeah.
X.
Yep. Yeah.
It's very Y.
Yeah. It's very straightforward. It's very simple, and yet it makes perfect sense, and it's easy to remember. Right. Everybody knows the Tesla Model X.
Yep.
The Tesla Model S. The Tesla Model 3.
Yep.
You know, they don't have to put the Audi
A350,
55,
whatever.
Right.
Yeah, who knows what it is.
Yeah.
You know what? I've been scheming about this new naming system.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy. Well, I have no money, so I'm not gonna buy it. But I'm gonna go out and buy the most expensive one, and then I'm just gonna swap the badges to the little motor, and then I'll have a sleeper Audi. It'll be perfect.
Now, in Germany, when you buy a car, right, you tend to order the car.
Very sure, yeah.
And you could buy it debadged, and that's been a thing in Germany for a long time. But it's starting to come here right now, where you know it's you don't know what car it is, and you let the performance of the car speak for itself. So when you're on the Autobahn and you see, let's say, a powerful BMW, and you're not sure, is it a 530, is it a 550, right? You just don't know.
M5,
M5, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any others before we wrap this?
The new Demon is a cool name, but will we ever see a more powerful Challenger?
You know, that's a great question. Who asked that question? So the Demon is 840 horsepower. That was asked by Thomas over there. It's an 840 horsepower monster, of course. And the question is, will we see 1,000 horsepower? And I think we will. I think
it could happen. FCA seems to be on this kick lately where they're just, full-fledged, all the way towards performance, right?
Yeah, and what's happening today is it's not about, this is a new trend, of course, it's not about the amount of power, but it's the amount of density. And what I mean by that, Mike, is how much power can you get out of the smallest possible engine?
Yep.
So Ford's been leading the way, right? So Ford, once upon a time, in our long-term Raptor, put a 6.2-liter V8. Today, that Raptor has half the displacement, and it puts out more power.
And 2 less cylinders.
So it's really become about density, guys. And the newest trend in automotive technology in terms of powertrains is getting an engine as small as possible and having it put out as much as possible. And the two companies that are leading the way is Ford. What's the other one? It's your favorite company.
Volkswagen.
No.
Oh, Volvo.
That's right.
Other favorite company.
Volvo has...
Volkswagen also does,
Volvo's had a 2-liter forever.
Yeah.
Right? But Volvo has their super turbo.
The with hybrid and I mean they make 300 horsepower.
They make 400 horsepower
out of a 2-cylinder or a 4-cylinder 2-liter.
Exactly.
Which is just absurd.
Yeah, and so that's the newest thing. It's really more about density than about. And then I don't know how you name those cars because now, and that's another reason why they're changing this, right? So you have a 2-liter that puts out 400 horsepower. Why do you call it the A2 Super Duper?
Yeah, the 2 2.0 plus 40 or something like
right.
Yeah, who knows? But
well, guys, this has been a fun afternoon chat. I hope you enjoyed it. Mike, what videos are coming up tomorrow? Do you know on TFL Car? Andre just came back.
We have the GMC Terrain.
Right, he got to drive the GMC Terrain
in both diesel and gas.
Exactly.
So a side-by-side comparison of those two cars.
So head on over to TFL Car tomorrow to see a review of the GMC Terrain, the new one, the regular turbo versus the
turbo diesel.
Yeah. And then tomorrow on this channel, we're going to go over to the Cobra Museum.
Again?
They'll
have us back?
Yeah, so we did a video about 2 weeks ago where we went over all the very expensive and very classic Cobras that they had, the real Cobras, the Shelby Cobras.
Actual Cobras.
And now we're going to go and look at their Mustang Cobras and the branded cars that aren't classic Cobras.
Yeah, not technically, not Cobras, but Shelbys.
And guys, you guys send us some great questions. I mean, our inbox is full of really terrific questions, and sometimes we answer them directly. Sometimes we put them on our website and have our readers answer them. And tomorrow, as part of our weekly show, we're going to do Ask TFL Anything, and we're going to answer your questions that you send us. So if you want to ask a question that we'll answer tomorrow, just go and send a question to ask
info at tflcar.com
or ask at tfltruck.com, and we'll answer your questions as part of Ask TFL Anything.
Yep.
Any other comments before we wrap this up, Tommy?
Is American Muscle going to continue with the big motor, small car routine?
I don't think so. I mean, I think FCA will keep that going for as long as they can, but I think, like we see the Mustang with the EcoBoost,
the 4-cylinder, the Camaro with the 4-cylinder turbo.
I think that's going to be the trend. Is everything's trending towards smaller motors eventually.
You know, at some point, fuel prices are going to go up, and it's going to be. When we say it's going to be about fuel economy, buying decisions are going to be based on fuel economy. So it's not necessarily that people want the V8; it's the people want the Mustang, but they won't. Think.com for more news, views, and of course, real-world reviews. And Michael, you'll be back tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll be here tomorrow.
All right, see you guys next time. Bye.